Hey guys, this video is going to be a review of Intangible by C.A. Gray, which is a book that I downloaded for review off of NetGalley, and it's on my Kindle and it has no cover, so I don't really have anything to show you. I've really been craving fantasy lately, and it's pretty much been like the main thing that I want to read, so I've been kind of looking for fantasy books whenever I just choose books to review and everything. So this one was on NetGalley. It was one of the automatic download ones, and it was a fantasy, and so it caught my eye, and that's the main reason why I downloaded it. The concept of this book was extremely interesting to me. It's based around Arthurian legend. They are waiting for the child of the prophecy, who is supposed to be a descendant of King Arthur, and there's three potential kids who it fits, including the main character Peter, and I'm not going to share the other kids that it could be because it's kind of a spoiler, but one of the really cool things is, even though it's all based around Arthurian legend and there's magic and everything, they also, the author incorporated science into it as well, and Peter really likes science, and he's really smart. At the beginning of the book, they're talking about, he's 14, and they're talking about having him do research at the university because his science classes at school are too beneath his level, and because of that, because he has a very scientific mind and he's always kind of thinking in scientific terms, when he's starts encountering all this magic, he's very skeptical of it, and he's constantly trying to explain the magic through science, and he does that throughout the entire book. Every single time something magical happens, he has to come up with a scientific explanation for it, and that was probably one of the most fascinating parts of the book for me, because I really thought that was a extremely cool kind of twist. There's magic, but you have this main character who's trying to explain all of the magic using science and coming up with all these theories as to why this stuff is happening, and I thought that was a really neat kind of tie-in to everything. I did get a bit confused with the world building at different times. There are these, I don't even know what to call them. They're supposed to be from a different dimension than the humans. They're kind of like spirits, but I don't know if I'd call them spirits. There are two different kinds, and the only difference between them is that one is good and one is evil. And I can't even remember what they're called at this point, which the NIMBY I think was one of them, and then I can't remember what the others were. But the problem was I couldn't keep them straight. I couldn't remember which term went with the good ones and which term went with the bad ones, and that got kind of confusing at times. That is probably not a problem that everyone would have. I'm just really bad at names and even names of terms, and so I kept getting mixed up on that. And I think especially because throwing in the science and the magic, there were times where it did get a bit confusing to me, though, how the world worked exactly. But it wasn't anything too bad, and it didn't really take away from the story as far as I was concerned. I also really enjoyed the characters, and I do have to say, there's just the tiniest hint of romance. It's not a big thing at all. It's just kind of hinted at. The main character has a crush, you would expect a 14-year-old boy to have a crush on this girl who doesn't seem to be all that nice, and she's one of the popular kids. And another one of the characters is dating that same girl, but he admits that later on in the book that he's really only dating her because she's popular. And so you have that, so you have the crushes and you have the relationships, but they don't really mean anything because they're only 14. And you have kind of that one point, I think Cole, who's the main character's best friend, asks Peter, the main character, if he has a crush on Lily, who's the main girl character, and Peter says no, so you have all of that, so you just these hints of it. And I think, I don't really want to say anything because this kind of could be spoiler, but I think I kind of see something developing between two of the characters, but it's just the slightest hint of it. It's not big at all. It's just these little tiny moments throughout the thing where you kind of think, oh, that something could develop between them in the future, but it's not a big deal at this point in time, and it's just a really small, almost insignificant point in the story, but it's there, and I really liked how that was dealt with, because they're only a lot of the characters are 14, Cole's 12 I think, So they're really young, and romance isn't like the top of their priorities, especially with everything else going on, but it is there just a little bit, and I really liked how that was handled, and I really look forward to seeing how that goes in the future books, because I think that I really like the development of the romance so far, like mostly because there's not that much of it. I don't want to say too much about this because this would spoil the entire book, but there is a plot twist at the end. I guess kind of more than one plot twist. They all kind of go together, but I thought it was done really well, and I did not see it coming the entire book. It wasn't one of those like huge plot twists where it's supposed to be shocking, but you actually are able to figure it out really early on in the book. I didn't figure it out until about maybe a chapter before it's revealed. I'd started like I don't want to say that. I'd started putting together that there was something relatively early on in the book, but I didn't get exactly what the plot twist was until like right before the main character finds out about it, and like right before the main character's told the truth, I guess, which had a lot of parallels to me between Dumbledore telling Harry things at certain points in the book and like having to explain why he didn't tell Harry them sooner. But like I didn't see it coming until right, like I said, about a chapter before probably I started seeing how that was going, and I pretty much did have the plot twist. Like I knew exactly what was going to be said before it was said, but it wasn't something that I knew like the entire book and was just sitting there waiting to be revealed. Although I did kind of guess that something was up, but I thought that it was a very interesting plot twist. I don't want to discuss it because I don't want to give spoilers, but I do have some questions as to how like certain things played out, and everything, but generally speaking, I really like the story. I really like how the plot twist was done. I really liked how the characters interacted and their development with each other and all of that. I saw one review of this book that compared it to Harry Potter, which I definitely get. It's set in England and has younger characters and magic and all of that. And I can get the Harry Potter references, but it's also very different from Harry Potter at the same time. And it's the beginning of a series, so I have no idea when the other books are coming out or when I'd be able to read them, but I do want to at some point because I really like the start of this story and I really would like to see how it goes and develops in the future. But I think that is all that I have to say on this book, and I will see you guys later. Bye!